Have you ever wondered how the government works? What happens behind the closed doors of political systems around the world? How do nations make decisions that affect millions, sometimes even billions, of people? The complexities of politics, lawmaking, and governance can often seem overwhelming, but understanding how governments function is essential, especially in today's interconnected world. In this video, we're diving into the heart of politics. We'll break down the different types of political systems, the roles of key political actors, how laws are made, and how governments interact with their citizens and the international community. Whether you're a political novice or simply curious, this guide will help you understand the intricate machinery that keeps our societies running. To begin, let's start with the most basic question. What exactly is a government? Simply put, a government is the system through which a community or nation is organized and governed. It is the entity responsible for making and enforcing laws, ensuring order, protecting rights, and providing services to citizens. At its core, the government is the mechanism that organizes how a society functions. It holds the power to create rules that people must follow, the authority to resolve conflicts, and the legitimacy to ensure peace and stability. Governments have different structures and forms depending on the country and the traditions that have shaped them. The need for government arises from the complexities of human society. Imagine living in a world where everyone did whatever they wanted, no rules, no laws. It would be chaotic. Governments are created to provide structure, protect rights, and ensure the welfare of citizens. Without it, we would struggle to address issues like crime, economic stability, healthcare, and education. The creation of a government typically follows the social contract theory, which suggests that people agree to form a government in exchange for security, order, and protection of their rights. In return, citizens are expected to follow laws and contribute to the well-being of the society. In many democratic countries, the structure of government is divided into 3 branches, each with distinct powers and responsibilities. These branches are designed to ensure a system of checks and balances, preventing any one branch from becoming too powerful. The first branch is the executive, which is responsible for enforcing the laws and running the day-to-day operations of the government. This is typically led by a president, prime minister, or monarch, depending on the country. The second branch is the legislative branch. This is the part of the government that makes the laws. In most countries, the legislative branch is made up of elected representatives who debate and pass laws on behalf of the people. The third branch is the judicial branch. This branch interprets the laws and ensures that they are applied fairly. Courts and judges play a critical role in holding governments accountable and protecting the rights of citizens. Let's begin with democracy, one of the most widely practiced political systems in the world. In a democracy, power is vested in the people. Citizens have the right to vote for their leaders and participate in decision-making processes. There are different forms of democracy, but the 2 most common are direct democracy and representative democracy. In a direct democracy, citizens participate directly in decision-making, like in ancient Greece. Today, this form is rare, but it still exists in small communities and in local referendums. On the other hand, most democracies are representative, where citizens elect officials to make decisions on their behalf. Countries like the United States, Canada, and India all operate as representative democracies. Next, we have authoritarianism, a political system where power is concentrated in the hands of a single leader or a small group of individuals. In these systems, the government exercises strict control over all aspects of life, from politics to personal freedoms. In an authoritarian regime, there are often few to no checks on the leader's power, and opposition is usually suppressed. Citizens in authoritarian systems typically have limited or no say in how they are governed. Examples of authoritarian governments include North Korea, where a single dictator controls the country, and Russia, where President Vladimir Putin has maintained power for over 2 decades through a mix of political maneuvering and suppression of opposition. A step beyond authoritarianism is totalitarianism, where the government seeks total control over every aspect of public and private life. In a totalitarian state, the government doesn't just control the political system, it controls the economy, culture, education, and even personal beliefs. Most notorious examples of totalitarian regimes in history were those of Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany and Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union. In these regimes, the government exercised absolute control, suppressing free speech, silencing opposition, and using propaganda to maintain power. One of the fundamental roles of a government is the creation of laws. In democratic systems, laws are typically made by elected representatives in a legislative body, such as a parliament or congress. The legislative process can vary from country to country, but there are several common stages in the process of making laws. First, a law is proposed, usually by a member of the legislature. Proposed law is then debated, amended, and voted on. If it passes one chamber of the legislature, it moves on to the other chamber, where it is debated and voted on again. Once both chambers approve the law, it is sent to the executive branch for approval. In some countries, the executive may have the power to veto the law, but the legislature can often override the veto with a supermajority. After laws are passed, they are enforced by the executive branch, but it is the role of the judiciary to interpret these laws. Courts review laws to ensure they are applied fairly and consistently. In many democratic systems, the judiciary also has the power of judicial review, meaning it can strike down laws or executive actions that violate the Constitution or fundamental rights. In the United States, for example, the Supreme Court has the final say on interpreting the Constitution. If a law is found to be unconstitutional, the court can declare it invalid, ensuring that the government remains accountable to the rule of law. In a democracy, one of the most important ways citizens engage with their government is through voting. Elections give citizens the opportunity to choose their representatives and, in some cases, decide on important issues through referendums or initiatives. The voting process varies from country to country. In the United States, citizens vote for their president, senators, and representatives through a complex system of federal, state, and local elections. In countries like Switzerland, referendums are used more frequently to directly involve citizens in decision-making. Voting is a right and a responsibility. The act of voting empowers citizens to have a say in how they are governed and ensures that leaders remain accountable to the people. Voting is just one way to engage with government. Citizens can also get involved by attending town hall meetings, joining political parties, participating in protests, or contacting their elected representatives. Civic engagement helps ensure that governments remain responsive to the needs of the people. In some countries, there are watchdog organizations and media outlets that play a key role in holding the government accountable. By scrutinizing the actions of politicians and exposing corruption or inefficiency, these organizations help maintain transparency in the political process. Governments don't only interact with their own citizens, they also play an important role on the global stage. International diplomacy is the process through which countries communicate, negotiate, and resolve conflicts with each other. Countries have embassies and consulates in foreign nations, where diplomats work to represent their country's interests. Foreign policy includes decisions on trade, security, alliances, and humanitarian efforts. Through international organizations like the United Nations, governments also cooperate on issues such as climate change, human rights, and peacekeeping. In today's interconnected world, governments must navigate a complex web of relationships. Globalization has made the world more connected than ever before, with trade, communication, and travel taking place on an unprecedented scale. This has created opportunities for cooperation, but also challenges. Issues like climate change, terrorism, and global pandemics require governments to work together. Regional organizations like the European Union and the African Union help countries collaborate on shared challenges, while multilateral institutions like the World Trade Organization foster economic cooperation. Governments play an essential role in shaping the societies we live in, and understanding how they work is key to being an informed citizen. Whether you're just starting to learn about politics or want a refresher on how governments function, this guide has covered the basics of political systems around the world. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share your thoughts or any questions you have about government in the comments below. Thanks for watching.